can see it's seeing the ceiling.
No, it's not.
Good afternoon, Veronica. It's nice to see you again.
Hello.
Hello. So, how have things been going?
Sometimes they're good and sometimes they're better.
Is there a specific issue that you're struggling with more than others? Is there something that's making the days worse?
Yes, I am grieving
You're grieving.
my son and my mother.
Okay. And when did that begin?
In 2015 for my mother and 2017 for my son, but it was a continued grief because I still wasn't finished.
Do you mind if I take notes?
Oh, can you give me a note?
Okay. Okay, so do you want to talk a little bit about the grief, or do you want to save that for another time?
Well, I could talk about the grief. My mother died in her bed at home and it broke my heart, and I actually felt her presence when I was standing over her dead body right after she died.
Okay.
So take whatever of that, if you know, and my son died in California and we didn't even get to see his body for a week, and it was a very traumatic situation for my whole family. Cousins, 4 siblings that he had, nieces and nephews. It goes on, how much he's missed and how we wish he had stayed with us.
Okay. So with grief can compile, and like if you don't address like the first initial experience that caused you grief, it can build off of each other. So I wonder if that's something that you're experiencing now. So the grief, the intense grief, did it start with your mom or after your son more?
The intense was after my son, but my mom was mellow, and I had a mellow everyday grieving for her because I was her primary caregiver.
How often do you feel like extreme grief? Do you feel all the time?
Yeah, every day. For my son, every day.
Every day?
And I would
What about a percentage of the day? How often are you filled with grief?
morning, noon, twice in the afternoon. Sometimes the grief will lead into a little joy because I try to go back to a pleasant time instead of being stuck in the darkness of grief.
So what percentage of the time would you say that you aren't grieving, or you always are? Or you're not feeling the intense grief, I should
can
say.
put it on the back burner, like as you're saying, not intense. I'm doing all right most days. I have to focus. I miss my family, so that's a big one in my life right now also. That all came on with the grief. I'm grieving my family.
Yeah. So when you get into like would you consider like when you get into the deep grief, would you consider it like you spiral into it, and get like deeper and deeper into it?
No, it's more, not now. I had panic attacks in the beginning for a few years. Right now, very rarely, but I don't think I spiraled into anything. I think it was just a small ache and then got stronger at different times of the day. I could be watching a basketball game that my son would have loved and it knocks me out.
That makes sense. Yeah, there's definitely triggers associated with grieving, you know, so some days will be better than others. And let's talk about your support system. Who would you consider, like if you had an issue right now, who would you call?
My kids. I would call my son or my 3 daughters. I originally had 5 children living on earth, but now I have 4.
Okay. So this has really been going on heavily since 2015, and it's got worse in 2017.
Yeah.
And here we are 8 years later. Do you feel like you've made any improvement in the way that you process things?
Well, I've been working with someone to help me. I am involved with a psychiatrist that I see, and You know, I've thought about different things like counseling, and I'm looking into other types of revenues that I can go to get me help. I'm not ready for a grief group because I feel like I have enough sadness on my life, and I don't want to create more by the other people that are grieving, because I don't find sharing my story with strangers would bring me any type of solace.
I wonder if the solace it would bring you would be from helping the other people heal.
Well, I do help a lot of people. I do. I help my children. I used to be close with my sisters. I'm not anymore since my son Daniel died. I have my brother who's very close to me, but it's been an interesting realization of people since he died.
Yeah. So you really start to understand who your support system is when something like that happens.
Yes, it took me a few years to realize that there was no going back. This is the way it was going to be with my siblings.
Has there been any changes in the past year regarding this?
I have an older sister, Patricia, who's been through a lot of things in her life. And she reaches out because, I have some physical ailments, and so does she. And she's my oldest sister alive, so I think she feels like she has to communicate with me, or wants to, maybe not has to.
So you feel more supported by her right now?
Yes, and I have some nieces and nephews that are extremely supportive.
What are your stresses right now?
I'm going through some unknown, scary situation with my husband as far as his cognitive behavior, but I feel like it's stronger than a cognitive behavior situation, and we're going through doctors to find out exactly why. He's 75 years old, and there's so many things that it could be.
Okay. How does that make you feel?
Scared. Sad. Worrying about my future. Not wanting to have him go through that. And hopefully it will not be such a strong diagnosis. Lots of praying.
I can understand how fearful you must be in that situation. Definitely when we don't understand things and when they're unclear, it makes them more scary. But hopefully with the doctors, and you'll be able to find at least a diagnosis that might be able to lead to solution.
Well,
because I do know that. Go ahead.
No.
No, you go ahead.
Well, I know that at least getting him to the doctor and getting blood work done will be our first step, because we have to be recommended by somebody to go to, like a neurologist or whatever they tell us to do. So that's why it's scary too. I'm not knowing what's going to happen next, but I'm working on it.
Is there any scenarios where you don't feel the intense grief? Like, is there anything that you
Sure.
do?
My family, my grandkids, sometimes they'll remind me of my son because he was a redhead and they're all redheads.
Okay. Any
but-
activities you do alone?
Crochet, gardening, cooking.
Awesome. It sounds like you have a lot of healthy outlets for your grief.
We also have a dog which has helped my husband more with his grief than me, which I love her. But that seemed to be what helped him, and now it's his security dog.
Okay. So what I would like to do at this point is come up with a plan for us to start processing your grief a little bit deeper. That way we can come to a place where you feel more comfortable with the memories without them being as invasive. Does that sound like something you'd want to do?
Yes, and funny things that I always did with him. His basketball team won the NBA finals, and the whole series I thought of him laughing, jumping up and down, and it was a fun time.
Okay.
My mother, she has a scent to her because of the powder she wore, and quite a few of my children smell it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not from her clothing, it's just her presence we feel.
Yeah, that's really special. So you are spiritual.
Yes, very.
Wonderful. Do you have any spiritual affiliations, or you really just a spiritual person?
I was raised a Roman Catholic, but as life went on, I investigated different religions, and I feel like I took what I could understand from all of them, and I feel like I'm a Christian and a faithful person. I'm more about spirituality that you do inside.
Okay. Just a few more things I'd like to review with you. So, this is my therapy dog, Sandy. So, do you have, so your resources would be your family. Are there any risk factors that are associated with the heavy green beer? Exposure?
No triggers. Just like I said, a pleasant trigger during the basketball season.
Right.
You know, that was something we did even when he lived far from us, because he died in California, is that we would share on FaceTime what was going on in sports.
So triggers have even become more pleasurable, it sounds
Yes.
like.
Yes.
Okay, that's really great. Now, typically I would assess your readiness for change, but we're not really gonna be changing anything except for our relationship with the grief. So, are you ready to change your relationship with grief?
Yeah, I'm trying everything. I read many grief books, or grief books that bring you into a happy point at your life, like think back on this. And I read a lot of grief books when he first passed away, a lot of grief books.
Now, do you have a family history of mental health disorder?
Yes, I do. One of my daughters, and obviously my son, who passed away,
what kind of disorder does your daughter have?
bipolar.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that with me. And have you ever worked, or have you gone to college or anything?
Yes, I have my bachelor's degree in psychology education, and I worked in a New York City public school as a teacher's assistant, and towards the end of my time, I became a reading coach.
Have you ever been diagnosed with a mental health ailment?
I have, when I started going after Daniel died, because I found my entire life was completely unmanageable.
Okay. Do you have, and we can get deeper into this, and we don't even have to talk about this today if you don't want to, but even just a simple yes or no answer, do you have a history of trauma?
Yes.
And then, do you have any friends?
I just moved to South Florida, and I have to say I don't have any friends down here. My family's up in New York. I'm not an outgoing person. I'm kind of shy, and then while I'm in this trauma that I'm trying to work my way out of, it's harder for me to find friends.
What is your diet like?
Because of stomach problems. I don't have a great diet. I've actually been diagnosed with malnutrition, and I was healthy. I was a runner till I'm in my 60s. But like Daniel dying created a whole different person. I'm not even that girl anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Would you be willing to see a dietitian if we can refer you to one?
Yes, maybe.
Or even work on diet type exercises with us, and like figure out how we can maybe get you into a healthier relationship with food.
Okay.
Okay.
Because
And
I think sometimes when I don't want to eat, it's not because I don't want to eat, it's because I don't have a healthy relationship with food anymore.
And that happens a lot with grief. It does. I see that a lot. So I wouldn't think that. I want you to know that that is definitely a collective experience. I don't know if that makes it easier for you, but sometimes it does make things easier for me.
Yeah.
And then, what does your sleep look like?
Well,
How many hours do you sleep on average?
Maybe 6.
Is that enough for you?
It's okay. I take a sleep aid
Okay.
So that
You'd like
helps
to sleep
me.
more?
because I could not fall asleep on my own because of my racing thoughts.
Okay. And then, last but not least, any alcohol or substance misuse?
No, not really, no, not at all.
Okay. Well, I thank you so much for giving me all this information about you and for allowing me to get to know you. I think my goal for us is going to be for us to get to a healthier place with the processing of grief, so it doesn't feel so overwhelming. And it sounds like you've come a long way since the initial losses, but we can definitely work towards more closure for you.
Okay.
Okay? And then I think definitely something we need to do is refer you over to a personal primary care physician or a dietitian. That would be something I would request, but of course that's up to you.
I have a primary care, that's the ones that told me I had malnutrition.
Okay, well maybe we can get you to a dietitian. I'd be
I
willing to research that.
do have to go to the doctor. I could bring it up, but that would be wonderful if you could research some of it.
Yeah.
For me, I'd appreciate it.
And then I want to show you something before we close. So this is part of emotional freedom technique.
Okay.
And what you do is you're going to take the tips of your fingers, of your thumb, and push them together.
Okay.
And now every time you are experiencing deep grief, I want you to do this. And it actually is a emotive freedom technique that helps you process grief. So let's
Okay.
start with that.
Okay.
Until next time.
Okay.
And I think that we are going to make a lot of great progress together.
Okay.